Just to add to my introduction, I have been in the industry for last 15 years, predominantly in the talent acquisition space. Uh, Started my career with Deutsche Bank and then moved to recruitment and consulting with Randstad, erstwhile Muffer. I spent 2 years with the Italian consulting company GI Group, and then I moved to Atra in 2013, and has been a wonderful journey since then. With Atra, have been able to create winning teams and hiring top talent across the globe. I have been a change leader in terms of the way we recruit and engaging talent in the technology world, in terms of um, getting high on employer branding as well as diversity. We recently moved into agile recruitment, as well as right now getting into automation and tooling to bring in the best of the candidate experience. So that's a little about me. I'm a mother of a 10-year-old and married to Rahul. He's a marketer by profession and a traveler by heart. So that helps me get a little more of work-life balance. So that's about me. So let's get started. So what do you say? So I want you guys to take up this poll and answer that. How many of you feel that you have a work-life balance? It's a very simple one. Yes or no. So I'll give you a minute. Please go ahead and answer this in the chat box, and I'll request Biju to help me with the number of attendees saying yes and the number of attendees saying no.
Sure, I'll help you. Sure. Actually, so far there is 5 no's and 1 in between. Rest is yes.
5 no's, is it?
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll wait for others to answer.
Yeah, we can.
Just a minute more. Just a minute more, so that everybody takes up this thing, so that we are at least knowing that whether we are able to achieve it or no before we start this session.
Okay. And one has a comment that she couldn't judge on time.
Okay.
So for 80% is yes, and only 5 members have the comment that they have the option no.
Sure. Okay. So let's move. So thanks for taking up this poll and giving up your responses here. So why I took up this poll, because what I have felt, and during my whole experience, I felt this word is a little misused word, work-life balance, and many of us actually use it without even knowing what does it actually means. So sometimes when we are a little too tied up between our professional and personal life, we feel that we are not having a work-life balance, and then we start complaining about it, and maybe start feeling that we do not have a balance. And sometimes we feel that yes, we do have a balance. So what I feel is this is a little misused word, and some of us actually most of the time don't understand how do we actually make sure that we are getting that work-life balance. So what is work-life balance? So I've tried to define it. Work-life balance is the state of equilibrium where a person equally prioritizes the demands of one career and demands of one's personal life. So this is what is, a way simple words, is a work-life balance. That you can have a balance between a career, your own career demands, as well as your own personal life. So that is something which each one of us or each professional is trying to achieve. Okay. So the whole objective, or why we are all here in this session, is what is work-life balance? Do we get tips on how do we actually achieve work-life balance? I'm sometimes struggling. So will this webinar help me get some ideas how to achieve? So what I actually want to set this whole rhythm before we start this webinar is we need to accept that there is no perfect work-life balance. So I am seeing some frowns on people's head saying that, hey, I came with such a big expectation, and she's saying that there is no perfect work-life balance. Yeah, I definitely believe that there is no perfect work-life balance, and something that we can achieve a better work-life balance, but there is no perfect work-life balance. Okay, so why do I say this? So what I have mentioned here is, don't strive for perfect schedule. Strive for a realistic one. You might have days where you might focus more on work, while other days you have more time and energy to pursue your hobbies or spend time with your loved ones. Okay, so I'll just take a small example here and maybe try and explain the statement a little more better. So I have I have a 10-year-old son, and he comes back from school at 4 o'clock in the evening. So I have a maid who brings him back home from the school bus and things like that. So if as a professional, I start feeling that, you know what, I reach office at 8 in the morning or 9 in the morning, and every day I should be back home at 4 sharp to bring my son back from the school bus and guide him to home. I think that is something which is unrealistic and unachievable, right? Because there is some that is definitely not going to happen. We have to make sure that there can be days where I have to stay back at work till 7 or 8 maybe, but there can be days where I actually have a little leisure and come back and pick my son from the school bus. So that is one of the smallest examples which I can give on how do we not how should we have a more realistic goals rather than trying to strive for a little more perfect schedules and saying that, hey, you know what, every day 5 I should be back home and have my tea with my spouse. So that is something which I feel is unrealistic and is not achievable. So, and that's where we start getting into a zone where we start feeling that, hey, I don't have that work-life balance. So accept this fact that there is no perfect work-life balance. So I want to actually move to a next slide with a quote that balance is achieved over time and not each day. So if you feel that you will achieve the balance on everyday basis, that's not going to happen. Balance is achievable over time and not one single day. So every single day can't be a perfect schedule for you, right? So that is something which I want to set this whole webinar tone with. Okay, so I have 5 tips to a better work-life balance. To achieve a better work-life balance, not a perfect one, but a better work-life balance. And this comes from my experiences, not that there is some research gone behind this or there is some white paper on this, but this is basis my experiences as well as some of my readings on this particular topic that I have brought this 5 tips to you. Before we go into these tips, I want you two guys to take a small poll again. What do you think is your major roadblock in achieving work-life balance? So I've put 4 pointers. Again, through my experience, when I've heard a lot of people talking about why are they not able to achieve. So these are the 4 major pointers I have always seen people talking about for not being able to achieve the work-life balance, that is working hours, their reporting managers, increased responsibilities at work, and the 4th one is increased responsibilities at home. So these are the 4 pointers. I would like you guys to, all of you, to actually pick up one of the roadblocks that you think you're not able to achieve your work-life balance. Biju, you have to again help me with the responses here.
Yeah, sure. Other members, please make your comments here in the chat box.
I'm sorry, Biju.
No, to the other members, please mark your comments in the chat box. I'm waiting for that.
So, what is the most common roadblock reason?
It is C, increased responsibilities at work. And then next one is working hours.
Working hours.
Yeah.
Okay, sure. Okay. So thank you for your responses, everybody. Why this poll and what I wanted to achieve from this poll is, when I told you that I have 5 tips coming from my experiences and the readings that I have done on this topic about work-life balance, the majority of the reasons why people don't achieve is these 4 reasons. So I've tried to actually get those solutions on the 5 tips on these 4 areas. So let's see how you can actually at the end of the session benefit from this. So now that you have recognized your major roadblock for not achieving it, I think those 5 tips will help you a little more, much better. Okay, so the first one, find a job that you love. So the people who work with me, for my friends and my family, they know that one word which I keep using very, very frequently is passion. So I always feel that if you are passionate about what you're doing, then you would actually do it for free. So that is something which I really believe upon, that you need to be doing something which you are really passionate about, and then definitely you will excel. So how does it relate to work-life balance? And also, some of you might say that we don't choose a job chooses us. And that's very, very correct. But how do you actually bring in a love or a passion here? So you don't need to love every aspect of your job, but it needs to be exciting enough for yourself that you don't dread getting up in the morning and feeling that, oh my God, I have to again go to the same workplace. So that is something which is really scary. And if you're doing that, I think it's time for you to stop and start thinking whether you need a job change. The other thing can be a toxic environment or a toxic person that you're working for, or a job that you truly don't love. Then in that case also, it's time for you to find a new job, because that will definitely not give you the right balance. So this is one of the important factors that you need to understand in terms of in your professional life, that what you're doing, is it making sense to you? Do you love some aspect of it? Do you actually are passionate about going to work? So I think this is one of the major criteria, is in getting the balance. Okay, so don't be afraid to unplug. So one of the examples which I can give you is most of the organizations right now have in-house gyms or in-house libraries. So don't hesitate in taking those small breaks and going to and go and use those gym or a library, or maybe if you ask my team, I think they will say go and play a fuse ball game. So I think that's fair. That's go and unplug yourself, and maybe when you come back, you are a little more energized. You want to finish your job a little more earlier and go back home. But one major tip here, when you're trying to go on those breaks, make sure that you time those breaks. Otherwise, what happens is your whole of time management goes for a toss. And if you're not time those breaks and it goes on for half an hour to 1 hour to 2 hours, then you are going to stay back later at work and you're not going to finish your day's tasks. So make sure your breaks are timed, and you're taking those breaks, but you time those breaks. So very, very important here is unplugging yourself and timing those breaks. Okay, so that's the second tip. Okay, this is one of my favorites, and I started with saying that my husband is a traveler by heart, so we make sure we take a lot of vacations every year. What I have felt is a truly unplugging means taking vacation. It can be a one-day staycation or a 2-week trip to Bali. It's important for you to take time off to physically and mentally recharge yourself. Also, another tip on this particular pointer is, before you do plan your vacation, make sure you have informed your team and manager much in advance. You have been prepping them about your vacation so that you're not taking calls and switching on your laptops during your vacation. So have yourself, your team and your manager be prepared and known about this vacation much in advance. So that will help you not coming back with a huge workload. And also try and be away from your laptop and phone as much as you can during your vacation, so that you're physically and mentally recharged and when you come back to work. So that's about vacation, taking a vacation. Okay, the fourth pointer, make time for yourself and your loved ones. I think this is something which we keep taking for granted. So one thing is very important, and I think so many of professionals have actually come back and told about this particular pointer is that nobody at your company or your workplace is going to love you or appreciate you the way your loved ones do. So I think most important thing in our life is our family. So make time for yourself and your loved ones accordingly. Also, one thing which happens very unknowingly with us is that we start thinking that we are irreplaceable. We cannot be replaced. Also, the job that we are trying to do is very important, and you know what? So what I remember is one of the stories which I have is from my childhood, and that's for my father, because he used to work in Tata Steel, and he used to be home at around 7:30 and never know much about what we are doing in terms of our school, what is our curriculum and things like that. He used to be a used to have a very busy work schedule and not know much about what when I say we, my siblings and myself are doing in terms of education and things like that. And my mom used to always go back and tell him that, you know what, if you stop going to work, the company will shut down. So, and I remember that when it comes to back to me, and I start feeling that, and I remember that line of my mom. So every time we should actually remember that we are replaceable, and we are not doing anything so important that if we don't go to work one day, the whole company will shut down. So start letting yourself know this slowly and steadily. If you're still thinking that you're not you are irreplaceable, start getting some slowly into this feeling that you can be replaced, and the company will not even miss a beat tomorrow if you're gone. So don't worry about those things that, hey, you know what, I'm the most important person in this organization. Start getting out of this feeling, and believe me, I have gone through this and I have pulled out myself from that feeling. So I think all of us can do that. So and that happens very unknowingly to all of us. So let's do this very intentionally towards us, so that I had that feeling very strongly that I do the most important job, and I have taken very intentional classes for myself and told myself that, hey, you're nobody in the organization, and you know what, if you go tomorrow, somebody will take up this job. So stop behaving as if you're running this whole organization. So yes, it can be achieved. So do that, please, immediately if you're not doing it. The last and the most important, it's set goals and priorities and stick to them. So yes, we do make sure that we have goals and priorities, but mostly I've seen that we don't stick to them. So set achievable goals, very realistic goals for your career, health, which is again a most important factor, and relationships. So have goals for each one of them and have timelines for them and stick to them. Don't deviate from them. So these are my 5 tips on achieving a better work-life balance. Hope you will be able to gain something from this. Before I actually move to the next phase of my webinar, I wanted to set this context that most of us, and in my role of talent acquisition, when I come and when I meet a lot of candidates, what happens is they have a lot of expectations from the organization, but this whole webinar is an intent or is having content to tell you that work-life balance is something which can be achieved by ourselves, or one of the other person who can help you achieve this is your manager. So, and organizations definitely have, a lot of organizations have policies around it, but you cannot go plainly to them and say that, hey, if you don't have work from home policy, I'm not going to work for you, because then I don't think I can achieve my work-life balance. So I think it starts from us, and we need to start it and then go and ask for things to the organization. So this whole webinar is working towards ourselves to achieve work-life balance. And the next person is your manager, or you when you are in a capacity of a manager. Okay, so when we are in a capacity of a manager, how we can help our team members or people working with us achieve work-life balance. And this is very important for us to know, because I think one of the factors where we actually stay back late at work, or we do not achieve work-life balance, is because of the manager. So if you are in a capacity of a manager, please make sure you're not getting into that way. What you can do as a manager. So I think first and foremost is know your team. So it's important that you know each and every team members of your, when I say know, find out if there is somebody who has a young family. Find out if somebody in your team has elderly parents and need to go back and attend to them. Find out if somebody has a very young child and needs medical assistance or medical care. So let them be available to the family over the weekend. So it's important that you know your team and let them be to themselves, or let them set their priorities on their personal front. So know your team, set, because that will help you delegate work much better. That will help also you scheduling meetings, and their availability will be much better if you know their availability. So know your team. The next point, set a good example. So you're a manager, and most of the time the team will follow you. So your team will follow. If you are working every weekend, the team will feel that if only I work on every weekend, then only I'll be good in the eyes of my manager. So make sure you're not working every weekend. If the work requires you to work on certain weekends, let the team know that they can work on roster, as well as do not send mails throughout the day as well as night and expect your team members to reply to them at that point of time. So set a good example and let your team get that balance of work life. So as a manager, this is in your capacity and you can help your team members achieve it. So I hope this helped to all the managers who are working with teams or who have people working with them. So that is about the manager. And the last slide here is my favorite one for women, because I feel work-life balance for a woman is a little tricky thing. Why tricky? Because as per our societal norms, women are always considered to be taking care of the family, home, and children. So when they go out and work, they are still thought to manage all these things together. So this is my favorite quote. It isn't that women are less ambitious, but we want to achieve balance between work, love, and family. So that is what we always try to achieve. And that's somewhere we actually miss out on the balance. So I have 3 tips here for women here in this call. I believe you should communicate. So most of the women I meet and I see and I work around with, I don't see them communicating. It's important that you communicate. So it's important that you communicate. Communicate to whom? Communicate with your spouse or with your family. If you're married, you have to communicate with your spouse. If you are not married, please communicate with your family, your immediate family, and let them know about your professional as well as personal aspirations and dreams, because they need to know this in order for you to achieve your aspirations as well as goals. Communicate with your spouse, let him know what you want to achieve as a professional. Also, communicate with your manager. It's important that your manager knows how are you placed in terms of your family. If you have a young child, let the manager know that you need to leave at 6 in the evening, and that is fair for you. So manage your day in accordance with it, and leave office at 6 so that you can attend to your child. If you have elderly parents, let your manager know. So let the manager know what you are going through at your personal front, and that is nothing to hide there. I have seen a lot of women who try and hide what is happening at their personal front so that they are not considered. I'm really not sure, but I've seen a lot of women actually trying to hide a lot of things on their personal front, and they start juggling, and they start actually not being able to achieve because they've hidden a lot of things. They have elderly parents or sick parents whom she has to take care, and but she's leaving office at 7 or 8 in the evening. So those are things you can avoid if you communicate better. So communicate. The next point is have a support system for yourself. So it can be your parents, it can be your support system can be your distance relative, or it can be a full-time maid, but definitely have a support system around yourself, especially when you have a young family. Third, and I think that is my favorite because I have come out of that. Don't try and do things, or don't try and overdo things, is what I wanted to say, because as women, we try and do a lot of things together, and we try and do overdo things most of the time. Also, don't try and do things where you don't add value. So something like a cleaning vessels, I think, or it's nothing wrong on that. But when you are trying to juggle between a presentation, your kid, or a vessel, try and see what you want to prioritize. So don't try and do too many things all together. Prioritize your buckets and then do those things, and don't try and do things where you're not adding much value. So I think these are the 3 tips for all the women out there. Hope that helps, and those are from my personal experiences. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer. That's it from me. So the 5 tips I have, and how as a manager you can help your team achieve work-life balance, and as women, what are the 3 tips for women to achieve work-life balance. So that's it for me today evening. I'm happy to answer some of the questions there. People have any questions, you can write it on the chat box.
Yes, I have a question.
Swati, would
am
you?
I audible?
Swati, you breaking? Yes, Swati, go for it.
I will ask. Am I audible? Yeah, okay. What is the best advice for a fresher who's joining in any field in this corporate world? Because that fresher will be very much excited about his or maybe her job. So he'll be working more time in job, but maybe later on they'll realize, okay, they are spending a lot of time in job, but at first they won't recognize it because the excitement or to or to do something or to prove something in their job will push them to do or maybe take more time and work. But later on, they'll feel like, oh my God, but this has been their habit of doing things. But suddenly, when they try to balance their work as work-life balance, their managers may feel like she is not doing pretty good as she did in the first. So, is the what is your best advice to handle these kind of situations?
Sure, Swati. I think your question is more on setting expectations with the manager, because how can I summarize the whole thing is that what you're saying is, as a fresher, might be I'm spending a little more time in the work, and then when I actually have a little more increased responsibilities back home, then my managers might start feeling that I'm not giving as much time at work as I used to give earlier. So I think this is more of setting expectation, and that's where I spoke about communication. It is important. So before answering that, I think one of the most important thing is when you are just coming out of the college, definitely you need to spend a little more time because you're trying to learn a lot of things. Also, what you're trying to do is you're trying to know the environment around you. So you might spend a little more time. Also, you're trying to make friends. So it's fair that you spend a little more time. But what happens when I have increased responsibilities back home, and then I'm not giving that much of time at work, and then my managers think that maybe I have become a little complacent at work and I'm not giving so much of time. So that is setting expectations. So go back to your manager at that point of time and say that, hey, you know what, now maybe I have a family, I have a hobby, or I have a hobby which I'm pursuing, or I'm pursuing a sports, or I'm actually reading a lot. I had decided to read a lot, and I'm actually I would require to leave after this time, and that's something which is fair to ask, and that's where you need to communicate and set the expectation. So let the manager know what you're trying to do at your personal front, and you might not have to tell everything what's happening at your personal front. And some of us are very introvert and try to not do that, but it's fair to let know the status quo. It's fair to let know that if you have you've recently got married, somebody has recently got married, definitely needs to spend a lot more time with the spouse, or young family, or definitely somebody who has taken up a sports as a hobby in the evening goes for classes. Why not? I want to go now. So set those expectations, and I'm being very sure that your manager will understand, and there will be no there will be right expectation setting there. So that's for you, Swati. I hope I answered your question.
Yes, thank you, thank you. So we have questions in the chat box. So
Sure.
first one is how to avoid personal issues while working. It is from Kavinraj Marimuthu.
How to avoid personal issues while working. Okay, so I'm not very clear what kind of personal issues while working, but I'm just taking this as maybe you have increased responsibilities at your home, maybe a young family, or maybe somebody whom you need to take care back home. So that is I'm taking it as a personal issue. And how to avoid this? You definitely can't avoid it, and don't try and avoid it, because that starts getting into a conflict situation with yourself, and you start feeling that you are not giving the right balance. So don't try and avoid it, but I think again, priorities. So again, communication, priorities, setting up the priorities, how you are actually doing a proper time management. If you actually feel that you can work at that point of time only 4 hours, and you need to attend somebody really sick back home, and you can work for a month only for 4 hours or 6 hours, you need to definitely go back to your manager and tell that, hey, you know what, I can only work 6 hours in a day, and I have to spend rest of the day with my family there. So I think that is something which we need to do. We cannot avoid it. We need to really start communicating. We need to start setting expectation, letting people know around us, whoever we are working with, that this is what I'm going through in my personal life. can you help me doing this, achieve this? So maybe you work 6 hours and go back home and logging in again. It can be multiple scenarios which you can, solutions which you can apply to yourself depending on the situation that you have. So personal issues, avoiding. I'm taking personal issues as your increased responsibilities back at home. So that is how I would like to answer this.
Okay. So next question we have from Prem was, there is a school of thought that work-life balance is when you make a distinction of both. But if you don't consider one against the other, it is less stressful. What is your take on it?
Okay, there is a school of thought that work-life balance is when you make a distinction of both. True, but if you don't consider one against the other, it is less stressful. Yes, so I maybe not totally agree, but there is a flow which happens. So it is not that we can always cut off the work when we come back home, and that can never be achieved. So I started saying that accept the fact that there is no perfect work-life balance. So I can never think of a scenario, especially when we are totally cut off from both. There is an overflow which keep happening from your work to life, as well as at your personal end, from your personal end to the work. So there will be definitely overflow happening from both ends. So there can be never a distinction, you know what, that till 6 o'clock I am a working professional, and after 6:30 when I'm home, I am the mom home. So I'm the mother of the mother right now, and my role starts as a mother. I think that distinction is not achievable, and we should never try and achieve that, because that distinction is not at all possible. So I myself have had scenarios where I have because I manage things globally. I take calls from US. I take calls after 9 in the night, and there are some discussions which I take. So, but that's managed because you know what is your dinner time, what time your kids are going to sleep. So you take those calls after that. So you just can't tell that, you know, 6:30 is my role as a professional ends, and my role as a mother or a wife starts at 6:37. So I can't be doing any more work. I can't check mail. So that is not going to happen. And you're true that this distinction of both can never be achieved. We have to have we know that there is an overflow happening. So that is my take on this. So we can't be trying to achieve that perfect scenario that when home we are not checking mails, we are not looking at our phones. That is good to achieve, and it's a perfect scenario, but not so easily achievable. So let's not go there right now. Let's try and do things which is in our hands currently. So that is my take on the distinction, and consider that each is overflowing on the other.
All right.
Okay,
So next we
this
have
one is interesting, ma'am. If you're a single mother of 2 kids, okay, I think that is, I think this is an interesting one, and I think a very genuine question, because single mothers have more responsibilities, and you have nobody to share responsibility. And I think, Amrita, that's where it's important to actually maybe start thinking about having a good support system. So one of the pointers which I started talking about, it can be your parents, it can be a full-time maid, it can be a distance relative. If you are able to get that, I think that's the best thing which can happen. If you're not able to get that, try and have buckets for yourself in terms of priorities. So also try and look at a professional life, and that is something where you can communicate very freely, and you can let your peers, managers, and your team know that these are my priority, and this is how I want to achieve it. So you have to have a rhythm for yourself. You have to have a support system for yourself. Definitely this requires a little more planning, a little more communication to the outside world, and you need to be really open about it, because that is something which you, and it's just absolutely okay. I have seen some people actually, and some of the women actually, I'm deviating a little here, but I have seen some of the women who are very hesitant in telling that, you know, I have to go to school. I have to attend my kids' annual day, or I have to go today because, my maid is not coming and I have to go back and pick up my son from the school bus. And something which I have made sure that I let know my managers, I let know my team that I'm doing this, because that is part of my life. That is how I'm running my whole ecosystem. So there's nothing wrong when I say that today at 11, I am actually have to go to school and will be only back after 1 hour, because that's my son time with me. So I have personally made sure that I let know people around me that I'm doing this. And I feel that's my right as a mother to let everybody know that I'm doing this. So communicate much, be much open. And I think you will be able to achieve a little much balance, and you will see a little more cooperation coming from people around you. So let this communication flow a little more, and you will see a little more hands coming towards your end to help you achieve this balance. Any other question you want me to pick up?
Yes, in the chat there is some more questions.
Okay.
No, one
The
question
questions
is
include Joseph Varghese. He's asking if job demands working late every day, what to do?
Okay. Yeah. So I would like to take this answer in two phrases. Why is that the work is demanding for you to stay back late every day? So you need to find out reasons. If it is a shift job, that is fair, because you have agreed to that job when you started doing it. If it is not a shift job and you're talking about extended hours beyond your 8 hours or 9 hours of official working hours, you're staying a couple of hours more, you need to really sit back and find out what's wrong. So you need to do a little analysis here for yourself. So is it like you have so I think I'll go back to the poll that we did, where you have to do a poll for yourself. So you have to find out, is it increased responsibilities? What happens is, certain times I have seen, is it because of your manager, because he or she stays back late and that's the reason you're staying back late? Is it increased responsibilities? Third, is it that you're not getting support from your team members? So these are the three primary reasons you might be staying back, because after your stipulated 9 hours of work. In predominantly, these can be the three reasons. There can be many more reasons, but I've seen these three reasons for you to stay back at work. So first, if you have increased responsibilities at work, please go back and discuss this with your manager, that you have a lot of work at hand and you need help. So this needs to be discussed very quickly, immediately. Go back and discuss. If it is your manager who is staying back and expect all of you to stay back, someday, somewhere you need to start communicating and letting know that you have responsibilities back home and you need to go back. It can be a day or two in a week, but rest of the day, you need to go back and attend your personal responsibilities. So that is the communication part. The third part, if it is your colleagues or peers who is not giving you enough support required at job, then again you need to communicate, this time with your peers, your colleagues at work, and let them know that this is how you are struggling, and either you can go through your manager or directly talk to them, and what kind of support is required. This needs to be solved in order for you to achieve a balanced work life and not staying back at work every day. And sometimes I think the last, I've also seen it, sometimes it becomes a habit of the person. So stop that habit and pack your bag. Give yourself a deadline that this is the time I'll pack my bag and get out of the office. So do that for yourself. So I think those were the tips from my end, in order to, if your job demands working late, what you can do. So try and resort to these 3 or 4 steps, and I hope you will get a solution there.
Right. So here we have one more question from Anu Elizabeth Matthew. This is the last question we have in the session. Hi Ranjana, you have addressed a very idealistic scenario on the and the ideal to do's in the situation. However, when there is a fear of losing the job or being
Correct.
sidelined, doesn't that fear push you to expand your boundaries? Mostly it gets into your personal life. How do you deal with the conditioning that happens at work?
Yes, Anu, and I think I completely agree with you. This is all good to hear and good to know, but what happens when we go back to work? We are again staying back after 7:38. And personally, if you ask me, I myself have had situations where I have had stayed back at work at 9, 8:30 with a very, very young family. So, but how do we come out slowly and steadily out of it is a gradual process. So I have mentioned in my first slide, it's not an everyday process. It's something which you achieve over time. So you have to start working on it at least. You have to tell yourself. So in the last few days, what I've started doing is, in the last few years, what I started doing for myself is, when I knew that I'm getting into this situation and I talked about that I started feeling that my work is very important and I am irreplaceable. So nobody can replace me, and that feeling when comes with you, it's very, very dangerous. And that's where you start getting into a fear that if I don't spend 10 hours or 12 hours or 14 hours at work, I might just lose this job, and that doesn't happen. And that is the real truth. It doesn't happen. So slowly and steadily, that is how you're setting the expectation. And as one of the persons, somebody asked me in the very first question, what do you do when you have started working long hours and then suddenly you start giving those many hours and you work very, you go back at the idle time, then what happens? What will the manager think? So I think that is where we are going wrong about setting expectation, and setting expectation not only to our manager and colleagues, but to ourselves also, and telling ourselves that, you know what, if I don't work for 12 hours or 14 hours, I'll lose this job. No, I have seen people, and I think I have learned through my experiences and I've learned through those people that there is nothing like that. You need to set your targets, have a good time management, finish your day's work, and go back home at the right time. And that is achievable, and there is no fear of losing the job. But please do not think for yourself that if I do not work for 12 hours or 14 hours, I'm going to lose this job. If you are in that situation, again, you need to do analysis for yourself. Is it your manager which is setting that kind of expectation that if you're not working 12 hours, 14 hours, you're going to lose job? Or is it the increased responsibility, or it's your own team members or colleague that is giving you that expectation? Or the last, not the least, is it you yourself who is giving you this impression that if I don't work, or if I don't come over weekends and help finish the work, I'm going to lose this job? So I think again, it's a self-analysis and something which you need to achieve over time. And this idealistic scenario or perfect work-life balance is never achievable, but definitely you will be able to achieve a little more balance in your life. So try and do things for yourself, like set time for yourself to log off. Have a time. Don't go to work thinking that you will be there forever, or wait for everybody to leave in the system. And I have done that. I have waited for people to leave so that I leave, and with the feeling that if I leave, what will others think about me? So don't get into that feeling. It's very, very perfect for you to leave at the ideal time. If you spend 8.5 hours, if you have a clean desk, you have completed your work, please go ahead and leave for the day. So I think a little analysis and a little planning will help you achieve that, a little of balance, maybe not an idealistic situation. So that's from me. Anybody else? Any other question? Hope you all had some takeaways from this session. As I started this whole session with, that there is no perfect work-life balance. People, this is something that can be achieved over time. You need to set yourself your boundaries and let yourself know that we'll be able to actually have a little much better balance in life. Let things overflow, and it's okay to work hard. It's okay to stay back at work, but have time for your hobbies, have time for your relationships, have time for your family. So that is more important. And also keep achieving success in your professional life, keep growing. So that's from me today for today evening. Hope you take back some of the pointers from here. Thank you so much. And thank you, Best of HR Forum, for organizing this.
Yes, so thank you, Ranjana. So on behalf of Best of HR Forum, I really have to thank you for giving us wonderful insights on the topic of work-life balance. Thank you all, and thank you everybody to taking your time to participate in this webinar. Thank you all. So see you soon on the upcoming webinar. Thank you. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you.